welcome to the channel. Today we're looking at shark taps or T-taps. We will start by setting up the narrow siphon side first, and then move to the wider T side last. So to start, we'll take the siphon wire or the branch wires here and prep them using wire strippers. You just need like a good 5 millimeters. 5 millimeters of exposed wire, not too much, just a little bit is fine. And as always, be careful to get the gauge sizing correct when using wire strippers. Twist the end just a little bit so that it doesn't fray. Then go ahead and do the same for any other siphon wires that you will use. In this case, we have a high and low signal siphon wire, which is pretty typical of any kind of automotive application. Alright, so if the application you're splicing into is serial data or something sensitive like ones and zeros, best practice is to twist the branch wires just to reduce the noise and interference along the wire. So take the stripped siphon wire we just made and place it into the narrow jaw. You want to make sure that the copper is contacting the bottom of the jaw where the metal is, and also make sure it sits directly in the center. Once it's in position, take your pliers and clamp the jaws shut. Be sure to apply enough pressure to fully lock the jaws. You'll know when it's fully locked when the plastic side tabs get flush with the lower jaw. So that means the narrow side is done. Now let's tackle the wider tapping side of the shark tap. Take the shark tap and put it up to the wire that you want to splice into. You want to make sure that the wire is straight enough to fit across the shark tap jaws. As you can see, the teeth inside. Big idea here is to make sure the teeth in the lower jaw actually bites fully into the wire. If the wire shifts around or it's not centered, it won't be any good, and the teeth won't actually bite into the wire. Once it's centered, use pliers to clamp the jaw shut, and the wires need to stay centered while you apply pressure. Just like the narrow side, you'll know if it's clamped all the way if the upper and lower jaws sit flush together, like that. Ideally, it would look something like what I'm showing you here. If the tap doesn't turn out well, like it's moved when applying pressure, you can take apart the tap using a pick and prying open the jaw. Here you can see how the teeth bit into the wire via compression of the jaws. You see that right there. The upper jaw makes contact with the wire and presses it down into the metal teeth. So if the wire's not lined up right, the contact will be bad, and that means you'll get no connection. You can kind of see here how the teeth actually cut through the jacketing and contact the conductors inside. By conductor, I mean wires, the copper. Now for some tips when using these. So the first trick is to use a pick to press the wire into the teeth to help it seat itself correctly. Just gently push the wire and massage it into the teeth a little bit, kind of like how you use a center punch before you drill a hole. Just helps it from moving around. So this can be particularly useful on solid versus braided wires, or when the jacketing is especially thick or hard. It also helps with making the clamping easier, and it makes a solid connection right there. The second tip is using a small bit of electrical tape and applying it to the upper jaw or the part of the wire that will touch the upper jaw. Here we're just going to apply it to the wire for demo purposes. What it's basically doing is adding thickness. It's adding a little bit of material to the wire to help the upper jaw press down on the wire. This can be particularly useful on smaller gauge wires like 22 gauge or 20 gauge. And it helps the wire not unseat itself when the tap might be moving around or vibration. Let's look at a very real-world example here. Here I'm trying to tap into the wires on this vehicle, and the wires on the vehicle are pretty small, so I'll apply the electrical tape trick. So I put the electrical tape on the upper jaw and add the material to help the jaw compress the wire during clamping. And here I just thought that it might be best to add 2 pieces instead of 1, since the wire is pretty small and pretty thin. Make sure to center the wire, of course, and obviously don't mind the other marks on the wire, since this is a test vehicle. I've done all sorts of things to it. Here I realized I might have put a little bit too much tape. Maybe 1 strip of tape was enough, since I had to clamp pretty hard. The jaws aren't shut all the way, so that means I need to reapply my force on the pliers and make sure that the tabs lock in place. Alright, seems like a solid tap and it doesn't wiggle around, so yeah, it seems like it's pretty good. Alright, so here we'll just prove that the tap is actually good, so I'll take this apart. And you can see the bite marks on the actual wire itself. We'll zoom in here and actually point those out. So you can see that there was a solid connection because the conductors are revealed there. And that's all it is. So there you go.